Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Plenty Podcasts. I'm Amanti, and today we are going to talk about stories from Social Work Frontlines with Nayanathara Jayathilaka. Before we begin, let me give you a small introduction to Nayanathara and her work. So, Nayanathara is a professional social worker from Sri Lanka, and she focuses her efforts on the Siriwardana Pedesa Islands fishing community, focusing mainly on women, children, and youth. She also wears the hats of a YouTuber, researcher, SRHR advocate, and a feminist. Her mission is to uplift and empower this community, and she uses various methods to address the many social issues that are observable here. So, Nayanathara, to start with, can you give us a general idea of what social work is and how social work is perceived and thought of in Sri Lanka?
Okay, so first of all, I'm so glad to be a part of this podcast series, and I'm pretty sure listeners will definitely enjoy these discussions. So, moving to the question, social work is basically helping people, but actually, social work as a profession, it is more than that. So let's say social work as a profession, if we read social work as a profession, so that aims to enhance the well-being of individuals, families, communities by addressing different social issues, maybe inequalities, and also it promotes social justice. So in Sri Lanka, the way of defining social work is quite different than when it comes to other countries, especially social work considered as a legal profession, maybe recognized profession. Many people in Sri Lanka, they think social work as something we do charity, we do volunteer work, and that's true. That's also we can consider as social work. But when it comes to social work as a profession, so it is quite different, and it has that sustainable part and that social work. Social work as a profession, it is scientific way of helping people. So this has a big process, and there are so many things that we have to engage with. And it's not just about doing charity, but sometimes we only work with one individual. And maybe it can be a little community, it can be a little group of people, and sometimes it can be an organization, even it's a school, so it's very different. But in social work, we always work towards a goal, and it is a big process. So it's not like you just do one work and then it's finished. But in social work, it takes like 3 to 6 months, let's say. So yes, it's a kind of big work, and it has that sustainability. That's about social work. If I can say an example for this to get and better understand what is social work. So if there's a nice story to explain what is social work in this social work social work setting. So let's say you see a man on the road who's begging for food, but you just we normal human beings, if we pass by him, if we just saw him, what we do, we just give them food, maybe bunnies, maybe kind of anything that he can eat and get rid of the hunger he currently having. But what social workers will do, that they will give something at the moment as a short-term solution, but also they will teach that man to earn something and get food by himself. So you just don't give them a food as any kind of food, but you teach them how to earn some food, to earn some money and then buy some food. So social work is something like that. It's just not you are helping people, but you are teaching them to sustain them by themselves. So that's how social work as a profession.
That is such a nice explanation of a process that is big and complex, and that example it really helped. So, Nayanathara, can you tell us a little bit more about how a social worker intervene into a community? Because from what I understand, you guys are the outsiders. So, how do you plan and intervene into a community which is not your own? And how do you come up with solutions to their problems without disturbing the balance that they already have?
Okay, so there are major 6 methods in social work. So community social work practices is a one major method. As I have experience, community social work quite difficult and very different compared to work with an individual or work with a group. We call casework and group work. So compared to those practices, community work is very complex one. What we do in Sri Lanka, we select a particular community. Sometimes your organization where you work, that can be NGO, let's say. So sometimes they will give you a community where which you can go and work. So we take like 1 and 2 months to study the community. That study is very in-depth study, and then we identify the problems, and we do a need assessment. But this process is again a big work. You have to do interviews, you have to collect data, you have to read a lot, and then you can do that need assessment. But the other fact doing need assessment, that social worker doesn't do the need assessment alone. Social worker has to do that need assessment together with the community members. So that's why it's very difficult, because only the community knows what are the problems they are facing, not the social worker. Even though social worker can observe the community, social worker exactly cannot understand or identify what are the real problems, because the community only knows what are their real problem and what are the root causes of those problems. Then after doing that need assessment, what we normally do, we prioritize need with the community. For that we take community meetings, we do focus group discussion. Sometimes we use some scales to prioritize those needs. And when we come to a conclusion which need is going to be addressed in the future with the community, then we plan the intervention plan, and then we implement it. But this process always has to go with the community. Social worker cannot decide what social worker needs to do. Social worker always has to do what the community need. So that's how things happen. Then you are as a social worker, you have to arrange programs, trainings. Sometimes you have to organize fundraising programs. So there are so many things you have to do within this community social work process. So this is a process, and it need more than 6-7 months just to make a intervention plan, and then to implement and come to the proper solution. It takes more time, maybe more than 1 year, 2 years. So that's why I say it's a very big work, and it's quite difficult compared to other practices in social work.
That sounds like a really well thought out process and a really long one, and I can only imagine the amount of work that goes into it, because you're trying to get into a community that is very well established, and as we know, every community is so nuanced, you can't just capture it just like that. So it's fascinating to know the inside story of all the work that goes into it. Next, let's move on to this particular community. So, Nayanathara, can you tell us about how you came across this community, why you selected it, and also how you personally prepared to get involved with this community. And you were also telling me about the specific technique that you're using, the English story reading sessions with the kids. So, can you tell us a little bit about that as well and how you use that to engage and address the issues of this particular community?
I work as a community social worker, and it is a part of my degree. I'm in my final years now, and I have a 6-month project, community social work project. I work in a fishery community, and this communities belong to Negombo, Sri Lanka. So this community, they live in this island. I don't think we can call it an island because Sri Lanka is an island. So this island is belong to the major island. I think we can call it an islet, I think. So this is a very tiny place actually, like just like 1 kilometer and 250 meters. So imagine the size of the island. But around 1,400 families live in that island, and everyone is belong to fishery industry. So it's a pure fishery community, and the name of this island is Siriwardana Pedesa. How I selected this community? Once I went to that community to do a research actually how this climate change has affected to the women in the fishery community. Then I noticed this particular island, and I felt that why I'm not doing my community work in this little island. But I never had the idea, or I even didn't observe what are the issues among this community, because I kept to do that later. So that's how it happened, and that's how I selected that community. And when my community social work practices started, so first but before visiting that community, what actually I did, I read a lot of articles, magazine articles, paper articles. Even I watched different videos on YouTube about this fishery community and this particular island, and I met different people who has engaged with this fishery industry and fishery community, who has done different research. So before moving to that community, I had a kind of not a very deep but a light study about this community, and then I moved to the community. But I believe as a social worker, before going to a community, we definitely need to have some kind of understanding about that community. Somehow it took me like 1.5 months to make connection among the community, and to give them that message that I'm a social worker who is going to study your community and find the problem you are facing right now, and to be friendly with them. So it took me like near to 2 months. What I actually did, I engaged with the community. Majority of the community members are Christians and Catholics. So I had to go to the church, and I had to participate to prayers. I am a Buddhist, but that doesn't matter. If you are a social worker, you had to engage with everything in that community to learn about the community. But that's a very nice, beautiful and wonderful experience to do that. And when you are into those practices, and you find a different version of you, actually. That's what happened to me. I find another person inside me, and I really love that part of me. So that's how it happened. Then I started to do community meetings, focus discussions, and then I prepared the need assessment. So I identify more than 10 problems in that little community, but the major one was the substance abuse, then the education of children, and then the nutrition matters among kids, and then the garbage disposal matters, and which also connected to the climate change matters, and then the financial issues. So there are so many housing problems, and there were many problems, but with my capacity I had to go with one or two particular needs to address. So I had another big meeting with the community, which problem, which need we are going to address in the future. So the major one, they requested me, let's work on this substance abuse. But since I am a single social worker who is working in that community, that's not easy, especially in Sri Lanka. It's quite, I say, a dangerous work. So what I discussed with them, shall we work on this educational problem with your kids? Because with that intervention, maybe we can address the substance issues also. And they agreed with that. And so that was the first need what I selected with the community to address. And the second one was the malnutrition issues among the community. Even though they are a fishery community, they have nutrition issues. So that's how I started my English story reading program, the project. So there's another motivation behind that story reading session. That was when I visited that community in the very first week. So they thought actually I am a foreigner, I can be foreigner, because I had kind of, this Chinese Korean look. And one kid came to me and asked, are you here to buy something? Where are you from? So I was very curious, and I was surprised by this little one. He was just, his age was, I think, like 8-10 years old. And that kid is speaking in English, and that's a nice fact to me. And then I understood, no, these kids, they don't learn English from the school, but since many foreigners visit in the island, so they know English, to talk into somewhat level. And that was a nice, thing to me to decide what I'm going to do in future with these kids. And then when I'm doing the need assessment, I identify that these kids, the kids of this island, they don't go school. Like they are this, let's say, like 5 days we had to go school, right? But these kids, like twice a week or thrice a week, they don't go to school. Like 1 day or 2 day, maximum 3 days they go to the school. The other days they stay at home. They just do nothing. Sometimes they go to the lagoon or to the sea with their fathers. And girls, they just stay at home. Boys, they go to the sea or lagoon. And there are so many reasons behind this issue. One major reason is the livelihood, the nature of this fishery industry. Normally, fathers, men, they go to the sea, lagoon in evenings or midnight, and they come back early in the morning, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So when they come back home, the whole family members wake up and support their father to clean these fishing nets. Sometimes they clean the boats. So early in the morning, there are a lot of things happening in this in their houses. Even kids also wake up and support their fathers. And after finishing all this work, they are going back to sleep, and with that they don't wake up early in the morning. Normally we go to the school at around 6:30, 7 o'clock, but at that time these kids, they don't wake up. So that is one major fact why they miss going school. Actually, this is the nature, rather saying nature, I think better to say that is the normal routine of this fishery family in this particular community. So as I see, they don't consider education is something that they need to go through, and that's help them to develop themselves, because they have enough money. If they go to the lagoon, they just can earn like thousands of money, and they can easily earn money. So they don't see education as a fact that they exactly need, and that's a right of them. So what I needed to do actually to address this issue. So what I did, I started story reading classes all around the island, this little island. I started 5 classes in different areas. So first I started with like 4-5 kids, and then end of like 3 months, so the one class had around 20 to 25 kids. Actually, some books I bought, and some of my friends, they donated some books. Actually, what I did in the very beginning, they had a closed library, and they wanted to reopen it, so I did a book drive for that library. So these community members, they had that opinion that I am there to support the education of their kids. So that was a supportive fact on me to start easily this story reading sessions. So what I did actually, after school's evening, I went to the island, and I select a particular area where kids usually come and play, and then I bought those old storybooks. Storybooks are very simple storybooks actually, like Siriwardana Singha's book, and so I started to read those books with them. And it's just not reading, story reading. You had to act, you had to sing, and it's really interesting, and kids really enjoyed those sessions. And with that sessions, with English story reading sessions, what I started then, I asked them to bring their homework to that place and finish their homework. When there were some kids that they don't know how to do their homework, even their family members, they also have very low literacy, so they can't help them. But when they come to the class, and then they are done with their homework, and when they are going back to the school, so teachers, they have appreciated them. Oh, you are now doing homework, you are a good kid. And that fact, that comments motivated them to go back to school every day. So that's how thing happens. And the nice thing happened later. The elder kids, they started to support their younger ones to finish their homework. So I didn't want to do that anymore. They started to support each other, and there was a nice network built among them. And that's how it happened, this English story reading. And there was a nice article on BBC about my community work practices, so you can read it if you have free time, but it's in Sinhala, but still you can read it. So this was like a 6-month project, but if I had more time, I could have to do more, I think, but that's enough, as I say. And while doing these English story reading sessions, I did another programs on nutrition awareness, like these kids were a part of that. So we gathered to one house and we cooked. It was like meal preparing programs. What should the vegetables or particular items should be included in a proper dietary plan. So they learn even what are the nutritious food items which they can easily find out, because these people, they mainly they always, like twice a day, they eat these shorties and different kind of fried rice. Fried rice is good, but the problem is it doesn't include any kind of good vegetables. So that was about my community work, but my major focus was increase the school attendance of the kids in that particular island community.
I loved how you explained how the community setup feeds into the lives of the children and their education. And I really liked that part where you spoke about English acquisition not through school but through experience and the number of foreigners that visit this area. So, thank you very much for sharing your very personal experiences with us. So, I'll move on to my next question, which is you touched on this already, the barriers, the difficulties of handling a community, of penetrating into a community and trying to address their issues. So, can you tell us a little bit about the barriers that you have faced when trying to implement your work and your ideas in this community?
Well, there were barriers. One major barrier was to understand kids, make some kind of understanding on kids that why they need to study, because that studying was not a habit or attitude they had, because they were always playing and running here and there. They don't go to school much, and they had no idea why they need to study, the importance of study. And then the other fact was that even I had to do home visits every day to bring kids to my classes. And then the lack of support from the parents, because parents also don't have any kind of idea why education is really important, because they know that if they can go to the lagoon or sea, they just can earn money. So again, but there were some parents that they think education is really important for their kids, but the majority of parents, elders, I didn't get that much support at the very beginning. It was just another program for them, not that something their kid is going to get some long-term benefit from this. And the other matter was that lack of spaces in this community, the island. Actually, I started my community social work practices in this rainy season, and I had a very little church place only to conduct classes. But when it's raining, it was really difficult to conduct classes in that tiny church, because talking about the houses of this island, houses are very tiny and houses don't have enough spaces, and that was another barrier I had. Apart from that, there were little barriers, but these were the main barriers I faced. But eventually I was able to overcome all of those.
I believe that the headspace required to think of going to school or think of education is such a privilege also. And like you explained, not everyone in this community has that privilege and the space given their social and economic circumstances. So I can only imagine the amount of effort you would have had to put into to it's like trying to bring two worlds together. So I really respect the amount of work that would have gone into it. And moving on to my final question, Nayanathara, what are the future plans you have, both as a social worker and also with this particular community, if you would like to share that with us?
Yeah, I have future plans. I have some plans. One is to conduct few research on this community. I already did 2, but I need to do more because that will help future social workers to learn more about how to do a community social work practice in a fishery community, especially in such kind of isolated communities in Sri Lanka. And the other one, I badly want to start a co-working space, co-studying space in this island. But these kids said to me, if they have a proper place to come and study, like a study hall somewhere in the community, they would really like it. They would use it forever. That's what they said. Because in their houses, they don't have that study environment. Currently, I wrote some programs and funds and applied for some programs which I can start such kind of a place in that community because it's not a simple work, and I have to to work a lot on it if I'm going to start such kind of co-working, co-studying space in that community. And also I need to give the power to the community that even though I'm not in that community anymore, someone must have to continue that process. So it's a big work, but that's something I want to do in future. And again, thank you for this nice opportunity to share my community social work experiences. And I would like to invite you all to come and visit this island. This island is located in Negombo, just like 3 kilometers away from the major city. And you can contact me anytime if you want to visit this community. Also, I conduct story reading classes in different schools in Negombo now. One is Mankulia Junior School and the other one is Katunayaka High School. So if you are someone who really love to work with kids, engage with kids, and to read stories for kids, so you can contact me anytime and join with me for these nice classes. Thank you so much again.
I absolutely loved everything you said here, Nayanathara. The amount of work that has gone into your future projects, your plans, and I could also see how much love and respect you have for this community and the kids, and how much of it is returned. It's really beautiful. I would like to actually thank you not just on behalf of Plenty, but on behalf of everybody for all the effort that you've put into it, or the length that you've gone, because not everyone can do it and not everyone is willing to do it. So thank you very much for all your hard work and helping Sri Lanka. So thank you. And I would like to thank you for taking your time and for joining us for this episode, and wishing you the best of luck with your future projects. Can't wait to see what you have in store. So that brings us to the end of this podcast, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to get in touch with Nayanathara to see how you can help with her projects, her information are shared in the description below, and you can contact her through them. So thank you very much for joining with Plenty Podcast. Hope you have a nice day.